And it's a good Sunday morning. Welcome to Church of the Total Man, a church for men. We are in Proverbs chapter 29 today. So get your cup of coffee, get a Bible if you have one, a notebook, or just sit back and listen to and learn from wisdom of the ages. Proverbs chapter 29. He who is often reproved, yet stiffens his neck, will suddenly be broken beyond healing. The key in life is to learn your lessons when you make mistakes. If you don't learn how to not make mistakes, you are, as they say, doomed to repeat them. Whether it be actions at work, things that you do in your dating life, things that you do in an entrepreneurial life, in your physical life. If you are reproved and stiffen your neck, which means that you reject the teaching that comes from doing everyday things, then you can be suddenly broken. If you don't take the proper precautions to begin with, if you don't build caution into your life, then things can come crashing down. So plan well. When the righteous increase, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. That's an observation. When the righteous increase, people rejoice. Good things happen when righteous people increase. He who loves wisdom makes his father glad, but a companion of prostitutes squanders his wealth. Loving wisdom as a young man makes your father happy. One of the things as a father I have always felt is I want my kids, I want to be proud of my kids. I want them to make decisions that I'm proud of. And if they make mistakes, I don't want them to stiffen their neck or be cocky. I want them to be able to learn from their mistakes. But I could easily build a wall between me and my children if I scold them or if I don't give them the grace to make the mistakes that they need to make. Mistakes are great teaching opportunities. By justice a king builds up the land, but he who exalts it, by justice a king builds up the land, but he who exacts gifts tears it down. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his feet. Flattery basically serves no purpose, if you think about it. When you try to flatter people, like the joke is, flattery will get you everywhere. It actually doesn't get you anywhere if it's false. I kind of like the more meritocracy, which means that if you give somebody a compliment, you don't do it just to flatter them. You do it because you're authentic, because you're genuine, because they actually did a good job or created a great product. So think about that. Give genuine comments, genuine responses. And I guess the old adage is true that if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. An evil man is ensnared in his transgression, but a righteous man sings and rejoices. You've heard me talk about the complicate, justify cycle, where men complicate their lives, and then eventually down the line, they justify why they did it. And it keeps going around and around and around. There are men who have been doing the complicate, justify cycle for decades, their entire life, making bad decisions, and then rationalizing why they did it. They justify why they made the decisions that they made. A righteous man knows the rights of the poor. A wicked man does not understand such knowledge. There's a couple different types of poor. There's the kind of poor where somebody ran on hard times, and they genuinely are poor. They genuinely don't have resources. Do they deserve our help, our mercy, and our grace, our resources? I would say yes. And then there are those that are poor because of bad decision making. And should we help them? Better yet, should we bail them out after they've made mistakes? If they keep making them over and over and over. Sometimes mistakes are the best teacher and not necessarily rescuing people. Scoffers set a city aflame, but the wise turn away wrath. It's like anything. Scoffers will turn anything into a dumpster fire, a company, a group of friends, a gathering, an association. Doesn't matter. People who are scoffers and mockers destroy themselves, they destroy their businesses, they destroy everything. Everything they touch turns to failure. Whereas the wise are always looking to make people happy. They're looking to make people content. They're looking to help make people rich. They're looking to help people find their own way. The wise ones. If a wise man has an argument with a fool, the fool only rages and laughs, and there is no quiet. Here we go again with arguing with people where there is no solution. It's not a debate where there's a clear winner and a loser or people gaining points. Arguing with a fool is a waste of time. Virtual responses all over the various social media platforms. Who really cares? You actually took the time and somebody, as they say, rented space in your head for you to rage on or even comment about something. I can't think of a bigger waste of time because we are stewards of our time. You can get money back, but you can't get time back. Even the time that you yourself wasted. We talk about not being around time wasters. What if you are wasting your own time? Learn how to value your own time. Bloodthirsty men hate one who is blameless and seek the life of the upright. That is true. There's people who are just always looking to take another person down. A fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. Keep your mouth shut. You don't have to say everything that you think. If a ruler listens to falsehood, all his officials will be wicked. That is true in government. Little government commentary here. The poor man and the oppressor meet together. The Lord gives light to the eyes of both. Do we serve the same God? Why are so many wars brother wars? We see so many people in battle when actually they should be living in peace. There's always someone who's trying to dominate somebody else. But it's God that gives both sight and hearing and makes their senses work, makes their heart beat. If a king faithfully judges the poor, his throne will be established forever. How do we take care of our poor? What do we do? That's going to be a key concept moving forward. How do we take care of the poor? How do we take care of those that are less fortunate than we are? The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. You know, it's interesting how a rod, a staff, which is a shepherding image, the rod is not meant to hit. It's meant to guide. Think about that. And there's so many people that use the rod as a punitive measure, when actually it was a physical implement meant to guide an animal so it didn't fall into a hole or keep it going in a certain direction or help turn it around. The staff had a crook, it was a long pole with a curved part at the end where if an animal falls in the water, you could put it around one of the limbs or around the neck and pull it out of the water and save it. It was meant to save lives, not hurt lives. So how do you guide a child? You help redirect them. When the wicked increase, transgression increases. That is true, but the righteous will look upon their downfall. Do you ever look at certain parts of a city and just think, man, all the crime that's there, why is it in this pocket of the city and not over here? Why is it that when it comes to cities, people say, well, this is a good area, but stay out of that area? I remember when I was in Orlando and I was going to do a run, like a 2 or 3 mile run. And I said to the guy at the desk at the hotel, I'm going to go out for a run. Any suggestions of which way I should go? And he actually had a map that he printed out for me and highlighted a route for me to run and said, follow this highlighting. This will go around this area here. This is going to be safe for you. He says, but don't go in this area. When you walk out the front door of the hotel, turn right, don't turn left. Interesting. He was saving me some trouble, knowing that if I went through a certain area, that there might be some negative consequences. Discipline your son, and he will give you rest. He will give delight to your heart. Discipline. I know discipline is about teaching. A lot of people think discipline is always about punitive measures. Discipline, think about, what is the root word of discipline? Disciple. What do disciples do? They learn. They get taught. Think about this. Discipline, teach your son, and he will give you rest. A well-taught son can bring peace into your life. Where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint, but blessed is he who keeps the law. You've heard this possibly in the past. Where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint. Many times talking does no good, and something has to be done. Discipline starts out as words. As one of my business mentors, John Paul DeJoria, says, praise in public but scold in private. In the modern corporate world, we create paper trails. You have warnings that are written. There might be 2 or 3 warnings, and then there's a face-to-face meeting, and then there might be some disciplinary action if the actual warnings themselves are not heeded. By mere words, a servant is not disciplined. So sometimes things have to escalate. They literally have to go to a disciplinary point because the warnings no longer work. Do you see a man who is hasty in his words? There's more hope for a fool than for him. Are you quick to speak or slow to speak? Whoever pampers his servant from childhood will, in the end, find him his heir. A man of wrath stirs up strife, and one given to anger causes much transgression. Anger, unless it's righteous anger never really serves a purpose. Unless you can convert it into action. I call it rage fuel or anger fuel. Allow your discontent. Allow your discontentment to fuel you. Are you tired and angry at just being broke, of being single, of not having a social life, of not having friends? Usually that kind of anger, that kind of discontentment can lead to action. And that's what you need to do. Make an effort. You don't want to turn that anger inward. Use it as fuel. As it says, one given to anger causes much transgression. One's pride will bring them low, but he who is lowly in spirit will obtain honor. Cockiness, arrogance, pride. There is something about being a humble leader. People who are cocky, arrogant, and proud have a whole world of hurt and troubles that most people would never have. The partner of a thief hates his own life. He hears the curse, but discloses nothing. This is regarding accomplices to a crime. The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe. I say trust no man, period. Trust God. But when it comes to men, trust but verify. Better yet, verify and then trust. Many seek the face of a ruler, but it is from the Lord that a man gets justice. An unjust man is an abomination to the righteous, but one whose way is straight is an abomination to the wicked. It's kind of like Bizarro World. Who do you exalt? Do you exalt the evil people? Do you exalt the thieves and grifters and people that take advantage of other people? Are you putting them on a pedestal? Or are you looking at the hardworking person that offers value? When you do the right thing, you will always be disliked by people. There's a certain group of people that will always mock you, make fun of you, put you outside their circle because you're trying to do the right thing. And as it says, many seek the face of a ruler, but it is from the Lord that a man gets justice. Well, that was Proverbs 29. Next week, we're going to do Proverbs 30 on Church of the Total Man, a church for men.